Have you ever heard of In 2003, one of the greatest Star Wars games ever made was released, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. An evolution of previous Dungeons & Dragons-based games like Baldur's Gate, Knights of the Old Republic took that formula and placed it in the multi-million-dollar global phenomenon of Star Wars. Needless to say, it was a global hit, and LucasArts immediately commissioned a sequel. And, like any rational person, LucasArts gave BioWare, the studio at the time responsible of Knights of the Old Republic, 1 year to create a sequel. Like any rational people, BioWare said, fuck no. Fortunately, BioWare recommended a studio to take their place in developing the sequel. Obsidian Entertainment, famous developers of nothing. This was their first game. Now, this is not to say that they didn't have any experience. Many of them were former developers of Black Isle Studios, responsible for such games as Fallout 2, Icewind Dale, and Planescape Torment, which were pretty good. Unfazed by the 1-year timeline, Obsidian Entertainment, the Chads they were, decided to get to work, creating a game that would one day be known as Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, a darker take on the first game and a deconstruction of the series as a whole. If it were finished. The final product was divisive, to say the least. One reviewer, on Obsidian forums, back when they used to exist, had this to say: "It would be a help if someone could tell me the story about why BioWare left. Then Obsidian took over? To be frank, KOTOR 2 feels so different from KOTOR 1. Advise to Obsidian. I am aware nothing can be changed now, so I won't bother flaming Obsidian for designing a boring storyline. Oops, devil emoji. But I will state this. Please, from now on, make a storyline with an abundance of twists, betrayals, romance." Spoilers. KOTOR 1 did this beautifully with Bastila. You can flirt/kiss, geek emoji, and then finding out you're Revan? OMG. It was an incredible sensation, KOTOR 1, Deface. I was expecting, hoping, that I would experience the greatest twist ever in KOTOR 2. But then I was suddenly crushed, as I simply crushed my boring Master Kreia. Then flew away. Then that was it. So, to summarize, boring, no smooches, no twists, and also boring. Shit, I guess I have to, reevaluate all my life decisions. I mean, what am I gonna make this video about? What am I gonna... Now hear me out. This is my favorite game of all time. I am incredibly biased. So, the duty falls to me to defend what I think is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good tutorial. It's pretty good. And it's a tutorial that even the developers themselves didn't seem to have that much confidence in, as one of the very first choices in this very heavily choice-based game is whether or not you want to skip the tutorial. Allow me to tell you a story. The Sith Empire is defeated. The Republic is victorious. The former Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Revan, is hailed as a hero for the destruction of their former empire. Parades are held, ceremonies, celebrations. And then...
The Ebon Hawk is adrift in space after a terrible battle. Most of its crew are dead or dying. You lie in the medical room in critical condition. You won't survive long without medical attention. The hyperdrive is damaged. Main power must be restored in order to bring the engines online and dock with the nearby Paragas mining station for much needed repairs.
This was not Knights of the Old Republic. This was not a celebration. This was a funeral. The last game began in the middle of the action. Your character wakes up, your ship is under attack. KOTOR 2 brings you to the aftermath of the battle. What if your character didn't wake up for the fight? What if they woke up too late? What if they didn't wake up at all? You are thrust into the POV of T3M4, the R2 equivalent from the first game. You slide through the corpse of the cockpit Carthan Bastila once stood in, towards your first interactable object. With no options to open it, you are forced to enter a small side room and access a computer console. A small nitpick of the first game's prologue is that your first console is at the end of the first level. A major part of the game, arguably, is using consoles and cameras as the main source of scouting. Every base, every ship, all of them begin with a console and with slicing. Slicing gives you several options: overload conduits, hack droids, set off gas, open doors, all the things you would hope and expect from a Star Wars interactive experience. The console on the Endar Spire, the first level from the first game, allowed the player to overload a conduit on the other side of a locked door, killing the Sith patrol waiting for you. The Endar Spire also gave you another option: repairing and reprogramming the droid in front of you to assist in combat. The second game streamlines the experience, teaching you the value of the computer use skill first, rather than allowing one to miss the tutorial to one of the core mechanics of the game. It also introduces the concept of computer spikes, in a container right next to the first console. After opening the sealed door with the console, the second most important part of the game begins: exploration. The aforementioned camera console? Yeah, it's the very first thing, in the center of the room, but my ears were drawn somewhere else first.
You can hear a banging noise coming from the other side of the door to the storage compartment, but the door is sealed shut and cannot be opened from the outside.
Once upon a time, Star Wars' first LGBT character stood in this very room. Wonder what happened to her. As the introductory cutscene and brief time in the cockpit showed us, the Ebon Hawk is fucked. Something major happened here, though we don't know what yet, and it serves to set the scene for the first true level of the game, and the game as a whole. Back to the security console. Yeah, it's locked. I wonder where the spikes are. KOTOR 2 uses this opportunity to show you another one of its mechanics. 2, if you're curious. Security acts as your standard D&D lockpicking skill. Bash allows the player to, bash a lock open in exchange for damaging some of the goods inside. The benefits of this mechanic are twofold. It encourages players to put points into security in order to perfectly open containers without breaking anything, while simultaneously giving an option to open containers for characters who would not choose to focus on their lockpicking skills. In addition, as the tutorial pop-up voice in my head says,
Sometimes bashing or blowing open a container will break some of the items in the container, but you can use even broken items. They can be turned into useful components at a workbench,
encouraging both kinds of playstyles. Turning around, we finally have the chance to take a gander at the cameras. Oh boy, I wonder what's on them. The outer garage camera shows that the thing Luke used against Darth Vader on Bespin is leaking into the hall, and we get a good look at the lift to the outside. The inner garage shows the workbench, a key interactable for creating and breaking down items. The engine room camera shows the main objective and also the state of the ship. If you know anything about Star Wars, you know that a ship cannot go anywhere without engines or a hyperdrive, which the Ebon Hawk is currently very short on. Whatever happened here, happened recently, and maybe whoever did it isn't that far behind.
I came to warn you, Jedi. You know not what path you walk.
The last camera is a closer look at the lift, reinforcing it as a transition to a new location. This console also has the ability to control the doors on the ship. I wonder how they're doing. This block of text thingy gives us some pretty valuable information. This door is low security and also broken. This door is super broken. And these doors work just fine, but there's a hull breach, so opening them both at the same time would kill everyone and suck us into space. Therefore, they must be opened one at a time. Since they can only be opened and closed from this console, this requires 2 people. Hey, remember this woman from the review and also from the intro? Here she is. On her body is a locker key and an idea. Remains may carry useful items. Several droid remains litter the surrounding area with appropriate droid loot, though not the most interesting. Hey look, here's a low security door. I wonder how someone would open it. Opening this door reveals the world's first NPC. T3 walks up to the droid and has the world's first conversation. Oh my god. Now let's learn something. Remember that repair tutorial from the first game, where the way it was laid out subtly kind of gave you the vibe that this skill was optional and could be replaced by using computer use? Well, here is a mandatory use of repair, teaching you that the skill is vital in not only interacting with the world, but also with other characters. It also shows that skills can be used in conversation, something that existed in the first game, but has been greatly expanded upon in this one. Speaking of interacting with other characters, it's time for the combat tutorial. The game runs off a system based heavily on Dungeons & Dragons. As a result, there's a lot of little things the game needs to tell you about. Let's see how that information is conveyed. Chekhov's locker is in this room, and it contains armor. Click the blaster or press U to open the equip screen. Alright, here's some information. Feats required. Seems like certain armor will require certain skills. Defense bonus 3. No clue what that means mechanically, but the description makes it sound like this is extremely basic armor. Good stuff. The character creation screen does a better job of explaining defense and feats, but if someone skips the character creation process and creates a quick character, they should get a basic grasp on what armor means and a means to compare it to other armor sets. Moving to the other containers reveals another key part of the game, the security tunneler. A means to artificially increase one security skill in order to open certain containers or really strong doors, the security equivalent of the computer spike. In keeping with the trend of this tutorial, here's a chance to immediately use the item. I wish they made you use it on the combat training box, but it's okay, I forgive you. Speaking of, time to shoot some guys. Opening the box gives you a gun, and just like Joker, your neutral special is to use it.
He wields a gun.
Probes emerge from the box and goad you on by personally insulting you and your life choices. Let's shoot these guys.
Gun.
Equipping the blaster gives you a bunch of new information. There are multiple kinds of damage, and this one deals energy. This weapon deals 1 to 4 damage, or 1d4 if you watch Stranger Things. There is an effective range of 23 meters, which is kind of useless because your character will just automatically run towards things to shoot them, but that's okay. Here's a fun little piece of information for the people who play Dungeons & Dragons. Everybody else,
turn the game console off right now.
What did you say?
This weapon has a critical range of 19 to 20, meaning that rolling a 19 or 20 will cause the weapon to crit. When the weapon crits, it deals double damage and 1d4 extra damage. This is a mechanic known as massive criticals, which applies extra damage after the traditional 2 times from the critical hit.
This right here is my favorite thing, ever. In the history of forever. I think about this every day. I think about this all night long. I stay awake, not sleeping, because I'm thinking about this.
Going down another row, we see that this weapon is balanced, meaning it grants a +2/+0 bonus versus the 2-weapon penalty if used in the offhand.
I win, every time, because I'm the best. And so are you.
This is an excellent line of text, as it introduces the concept of the 2-weapon penalty to those who might not be aware of it. It also introduces the concept of items that mitigate the penalty, reinforcing the idea of dual wielding as a viable gameplay approach. And then the next line, fully upgradable, which is pretty self-explanatory. This single weapon, the first weapon in the entire game, teaches the player almost every single combat-related mechanic in one go, even if it isn't mechanically better than the blaster granted to you at the beginning of the first game. All that's left is to show Luke Skywalker who's boss. Opening the crate again gives us a witty one-liner from Tutorial Lady, as well as instructions on the game's pause, grenade, and looting mechanics. Now let's move on to the engine room.
The store is damaged.
Luckily, Tutorial Lady tells us exactly where we need to go.
Use the lift controls to go up.
Thanks, Tutorial Lady. Doing what Tutorial Lady says puts us on the exterior of the Ebon Hawk. A sweeping aerial space shot of the ship shows us the extent of the damage and gives us a view of Paragus, a planet that has exploded due to a mining disaster. A beautiful look at what's to come, and also a reflection of where we are. Similar to the planet, the Ebon Hawk is missing something. Right here, where Revan used to keep their speeder. I guess the Terra Swoop Champion won't be racing anytime soon. Speaking of, why are we flying their ship? Where is Revan? Food for thought. Speaking of thinking, the exterior of the Ebon Hawk is arguably the most important part of the prologue, as it is the only truly mandatory section. Everything else can be skipped by a player looking to breeze through this section with a cursory understanding of the game's mechanics. The starboard of the Ebon Hawk gives us a few more parts from exposed engine ports and open hatches, as well as a look at my favorite snack, some exposed wires. controlling the door to the starboard dormitory. Also gives the player another chance to see the use of the repair skill if they did not choose to repair our friend in the cargo hold prior to coming out here. The port side of the Ebon Hawk gives us the experience I've yearned for this entire time.
The mines.
2 mines sit in front of a proton missile. No doubt the implication is that they are somehow explosive remnants of the missile's impact. Each mine gives 3 options: disable, recover, or send your friend to die. Luckily, even in the universe where T3 is a psychopath, the missile itself contains infinitely respawning frag mines, ensuring that you don't get soft-locked. Speaking of not getting soft-locked, it's time we open the teamwork doors. Solo mode is a mechanic where a party leader can politely ask for some space from the other members of the party so they can go off somewhere without having everyone follow them. Now, we have access to the workbench. Here, we can use our repair skills to create items using components from broken items or things we don't really want anymore. Tutorial Lady asks us to craft a repair kit, the basic healing item for droids, so we can finally fix T3's sad expression. Now, you might be thinking, so, repair kit doesn't sound like a fleshy meat creature could benefit from the case with a blowtorch and some spare gears. And if you're thinking that, you're a genius, and also you're in luck. Because there is an injured meat creature right here. Through this door is our guy. He needs this thing, which can be found, shockingly, in the container literally right next to him. Crazy how things work out that way. Bing, bang, boom, fixed. All while teaching the player the difference between healing items for robots and healing items for people. For the D&D minded in the audience, the healing items draw on the base stats of the user, intelligence for the repair skill, and wisdom for the creator. Now, let's blow shit up. The engine room door is still broken, and there's only one way to open it. Bam, boom, we're in. Interacting with both engines reveals that full repairs can only be made at the Paragus mining facility. On top of that, the hyperdrive cannot make light speed jumps. It can only be rigged to take the ship to the closest inhabited planet, Paragus. After rigging the hyperdrive, only one thing remains: piloting the ship to Paragus. A pre-rendered cutscene takes our skeleton ship through the asteroid field and into the docking bay of the Paragus mining facility. The music changes. The banging continues.
There is someone, or something, else alive on the Ebon Hawk.
The droids make their way to the main hold. The previously locked door has been busted open. What is he doing here? For those of us who have played the first game, a strangely familiar shape exits the room and blasts the droids. Now, the real game begins.
Awake.
Hey guys, you all have to know that this is the 3rd take of this because I cannot talk properly. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you specifically. Not everyone else, just you. I know I just talked about how this is the best thing ever made, but the tutorial, it's not perfect. And beginnings rarely are perfect. But the only thing you can really hope for is that they set the tone for the rest of the experience. And I think that this does it well. Subscribe and I'll see you soon.